Hey everyone, doing a cryptocurrency update here. A lot of action today. Ethereum, Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Golem. And if technical analysis was utilized, this bear break was very, very clear, and it gave an hour heads up. And what I mean by that is we have our clear equilibrium pattern, and if you're watching these videos, this is a constant theme. We have our all-time high, we have our dump to the low, lower high, higher low, lower high, higher low, lower high, higher low, bear break. So look at the bear break from this pattern. Not only did we get a bear break 2 hours in advance from this uptrend support line, I was watching the low of this price level here. That was down at 383.34. As soon as 383.34 breaks, that is the bear signal that the higher low pattern has broken. So that was a heads up to exit bullish positions on this candlestick. That occurred before the dump broke. So let's zoom in on the 5-minute time frame and see just how much heads up we had here on that bear break. That level was 383. Where are we here? Back here. So 383.34. The level broke right here. Higher low pattern is now broken. The bulls tried and saved it, could not, and then we all out dump on increasing bear volume. There is no doubt in my mind that technical analysis was the reason that traders saw this dump, and then it only got magnified with a lot of people selling and then stop losses being triggered. But it was a heads up very clearly. We were talking in the chat room and pointed out a clear bear break, and obviously we couldn't anticipate a dump. I believe I estimated a $20 pullback would result in that bear break. Ended up being about $40. But it was clear that the bears were taking over. So if you were bullish in a shorter term position, that was your exit signal the moment that 383.34 breaks. Same thing just happened on this bounce attempt. So let's zoom back in, 5-minute time frame. We have our all-out dump, the low, the high of the bounce, and then here we are reaching our equilibrium pattern after the bulls have tired themselves out at the top of the bounce. There's our high, low, lower high, higher low, trading straight across. There's your bear break. So as soon as the higher low pattern breaks, as soon as 368.90 breaks, that is your exit signal, and it's an all-out dump again from that point. So we are seeing these equilibrium patterns give very, very clear heads ups in terms of direction. And again, we see these patterns shaping up, and I point them out and say tight range, break imminent, and everybody wants to know which direction is it going to break. And personally, I don't know, and I don't care which direction it's going to break. Obviously, if I'm in a bullish position, I want it to break bullish, but I am just prepared to exit on a bearish break and prepared to buy in on a bullish break if I don't already have a position. Where I currently stand with my positions, I have a few longer term positions still holding that Golem, which has been doing well, and still I'm holding a little bit of Litecoin long now. But other than that, I'm really taking a break from this space and letting things settle down because we are on the verge of a potential shift in momentum, in my opinion, where we may be seeing the temporary top set. That being said, it depends on how the next 2 days go. So here we are. The comparison that we can have on the daily time frame for Ethereum here is this 3-day pullback where we had significant profit taking. Bulls were buying the dip on the way down, seeing lower wicks, however, and at the high of the bounce that we just saw, the wick looked really nice here on the daily, but here we are breaking back down towards the lows. So it depends on how this daily candlestick closes. Anything above 306 will maintain a higher low pattern on the daily time frame. And again, keep looking back here to what happened back at the end of May on this consolidation before continuation. So the bulls still have an uptrend on the daily time frame, absolutely, but I am going to be watching for the potential in a shift of that momentum. And on that bear break for Ethereum, it was a heads up to everybody else. And Ethereum is the clear leader in terms of price action at this point. We haven't had the flip in terms of market cap yet, but this bear break that occurred, Bitcoin, Litecoin, and even some of the altcoins all followed this dump, and it was Ethereum that was the leader in that dump. So Ethereum right now is what I am watching and looking for these other names to follow along. The correlations between Ethereum and Bitcoin, they do vary, but more often than not, they are directly correlated, at least recently. So where we stand right now with what the price is doing is we're heading back down to our lows. And if we do see a break of this low of 346.01 and 341, that is a clear bear break. But because we have an oversold RSI about to follow through here on the 5-minute, I would expect a higher low right now compared to 346 and to see this range continue to tighten up. So watching for the higher low pattern to be maintained. But if we do see a break of 341 before tonight, that will be a very clear bear break. Hourly RSI does not stay oversold for long. Looking back here on Ethereum, the hourly RSI, the last time we clearly dipped below 30 was back here at the end of May. And since then, we have bounced right off of 30 back in early June, and we're right at 30 right now. So historically, I would anticipate the bulls to see some upside from here and be able to stay in the 360, 370 range throughout the afternoon and throughout the night. So if that were to not play out, and if we were to break 341, that would be a significant bear break in the short term, in my opinion. So Bitcoin seeing the exact same kind of deal, but it's weaker, slightly weaker. And we can say that because of this second candlestick here on the dump. So the dump started at the same time, followed Ethereum down, and look at Bitcoin setting lower lows. So we had the dump candlestick, second candlestick was a lower low, bullish reversal hammer was not confirmed, and now we have another lower low. And again, just comparing to Ethereum on the hourly time frame, we have our low, a higher low, bullish reversal hammer was not confirmed here as well, but now we have a third higher low. It's a completely different setup, lower lows compared to higher lows. So on Bitcoin, the bulls have a lot more work to do to try and turn things around. We have to break this lower high pattern, and right now there's a key resistance standing out at the top of this bounce attempt, and that was up at 2649. We'll round it to 2649. That's key resistance. In terms of support, we keep setting lower lows here, and the RSI is now under 30. The Bitcoin RSI has dipped below 30 recently, back just a couple days ago, where Ethereum did not. So seeing time and time again, Ethereum is stronger than Bitcoin, technically speaking, on these charts. And the first time that we noticed that play out was on the daily time frame on that dump that I'm talking about here back in May. This candlestick right here on May 27th is when I first noticed the shift of Ethereum being stronger than Bitcoin, and we're seeing it play out time and time again, with today's dump being no different. So on Bitcoin, the must-hold support level is down at 2464. Break that level, and the bears take complete control. Look at the daily time frame. It is a much different setup here, much weaker. In one bear day, we took out 7 days of action. And compare that to Ethereum, one bear day did not even take out one bull day of action. And the second bear day is not taking out one bull day of action. So we look at Bitcoin, much weaker on the daily time frame, and the potential top is in at 3,000 psychological for now. If we break 2464, the odds of the temporary top being in become that much more likely. Litecoin is following Bitcoin down, did just hold a double bottom at the low here of 28.38 and 28.43, but on the hourly time frame, it's a similar story. It trades with Bitcoin more close than it does with Ethereum. So here was a heads up on the hourly time frame on the bounce attempt, where we lost this uptrend support line and then followed through to the downside. So we do have a little higher low right now. So right now I would put Litecoin in the middle of Bitcoin and Ethereum, where Ethereum is all higher lows on these hourly candlesticks. Bitcoin is all lower lows on the hourly candlestick. And we got Litecoin a little bit of a mix. We had a lower low, now we have a higher low. But the main point with all of them is they did not confirm the bullish reversal candlestick. So we have to see a break of the high of this bounce attempt in order for the bulls to see any kind of shift in momentum back in their favor. So for Litecoin, that's at 30.02. So just to recap real quick at the levels of resistance that need to break for these bulls to regain control. For Ethereum, it's up here at our little double top, 377.20. For Bitcoin, it's up here at 2649, and for Litecoin, 30.02. Let's look at the Litecoin daily time frame. I'm watching an uptrend line on the daily chart and a horizontal resistance line. It's a bit of an ascending triangle pattern. Not exactly clear there, but it is a triple top, so to speak, or a lower high pattern, where we've got our high 38.91, 35.88, 35.50, clear lower high pattern, and a little bit of a higher low pattern here on the daily. So I'm going to be watching this range continue to tighten, and we should see a clear break from this range sometime within the next week or two. So looking at Golem, Golem had a new all-time high in terms of US dollars, and a nice bull break on the daily time frame after so many rejections from 215, finally getting over those levels. But this is why I use the Bitcoin GNT Bitcoin chart. Number one, because that's what I'm trading it in, and I will use the chart of what I'm trading every time. But if we were using the USD and seeing the new all-time highs and all-time high market cap on Golem, we would have just pulled back from a random number without any significance. But because we are looking here at this Golem Bitcoin chart, look at the high from back on May 29th. That high was 23225. The high of the breakout yesterday, 2316, hitting that resistance and pulling back fairly significantly. The bulls are buying this dip, but there's a lot of volatility still. So the bulls are still maintaining some control, but not the kind of follow through from that bull break yesterday that the bulls would have liked to have seen, and the hourly time frame shows that, where we pulled back a lot more significantly. If we had pulled back and set our low here at 206, that would have been just fine. Healthy consolidation after the breakout, but because we hit another leg to the downside, definitely a bit more concerning for the bulls, but a nice little recovery going on here. So what I'm going to be watching on the daily time frame for Golem, still holding my long position, and I've been able to flip it. I flipped it a couple times in the wee hours of the morning before this breakout happened, and I was able to add about 10% to my position just in time for that breakout. But here on the daily time frame, I'm watching a higher low pattern, and we're watching our couple resistance levels. So that's this uptrend support line I would be watching, and our clear resistance in the 2-3s. And the bulls are still maintaining some higher lows, and the bulls buying this dip. The lower wick is a good sign. Upper wick shows profit taking, lower wick shows bulls buying the dip. So we'll see what kind of follow through the bulls can get here. Hourly time frame bounce is underway. In order for this bounce to have significance, we can see resistance up here. The last little bounce attempt topped out at 217, we'll round to, and for this to change, we're obviously not going to break that level just right away, in my opinion. We're going to have to see a bounce. Once the bulls run out of steam, we're going to consolidate, have to form a higher low and then a higher high to start to shift momentum. And that's the story for all of these names. Need to form our higher low and then higher high. So here we have higher lows established on Ethereum, have to break 37720 to try and see that higher high and to shift momentum back to the bulls. Bitcoin, again, has a lot more work to do because the lower lows keep getting set, and Litecoin in the middle there in terms of where we stand, although here we are potentially breaking down to lower lows. If 28.38 breaks, we're looking back down at these recent lows of 27.26 and 27. So any name out of these three main names, if we break the low from yesterday, or actually it was 2 days ago at this point, that dump, that is a very clear bear signal, and I will likely exit all of my cryptocurrency positions and just take a step back and be happy with the profit. Definitely would have left some on the table if I sold at the top, things like that, but not going to be regretful. Certainly has been a wonderful 6 weeks at this point, and that would be enough. If we break the lows of that dump 2 days ago, that would be enough for me to be concerned that this, I won't call it a bubble at this point, but it's extremely overdone. Look at this weekly chart. So this is a bearish reversal candlestick on the weekly chart, a spinning top on Ethereum. The upper wick shows profit taking. Granted, we saw one of those 2 weeks ago and then saw continuation. So we need a bearish reversal candlestick and then confirmation to be looking for this consolidation on the longer term time frame. So it still has a bit of ways to play out, but it does have me cautious. Absolutely. This is, if you saw the recent video, this is absolutely unsustainable. We have to see consolidation here. The RSI cannot get more overbought, and I do believe that longer term drawn out consolidation is going to come into this space, and everybody's going to be very bored. Everybody in the past 2 months is used to insane gains, and when we start seeing lower highs and lower lows and some money leaving the space, and even then we could consolidate right now on Ethereum on this weekly time frame back to 300 and still be extremely strong. We could consolidate back to 250 and still be extremely strong on this weekly time frame. So keep it all in mind in terms of perspective. So if this does happen and these breaks do happen, I will be exiting my positions and taking a step back and being very patient on any re-entries. I might be looking to enter the Canadian MJ space, which is trying to find a base there. You see a bearish reversal candlestick on the weekly time frame on Bitcoin. Obviously, we have a lot of time left in the week, but these are red flags to me in the longer term. We have seen literally over 2 months in a row of green. This is the first red candlestick. There's a little bit of a double top on the weekly time frame. Litecoin, weekly time frame, seeing a potential lower high. We've already consolidated on the weekly time frame, so maybe Litecoin here. I know the correlation is really strong between Bitcoin and Litecoin, which is a shame because I do believe Litecoin, because of this weekly consolidation already taking place, is in a more sustainable place than these other names. These other names, Ethereum and Bitcoin, need to see this kind of consolidation after the kind of move that we've seen over the past 2 months. So long story short, very key support 2 days ago, the lows of the dumps. If those levels break, I will be exiting all of my cryptocurrency positions and being all cash and patiently waiting for the weekly chart to consolidate longer term and to show me that cooling off of the hype that traders all know is coming. It's going to be no surprise to people that are used to trading stocks when this does come. But as of right now, I'm not convinced that it is going to happen yet, and the dump lows from 2 days ago will help me determine that fact. So I appreciate everybody tuning in, and we'll stay on top of it as always. Have a great rest of your day.